All right. Well, good afternoon, and welcome to our Wednesday afternoon meditation session. So, for me, yesterday was a difficult day. Trying to wait to see whether the United States was going to engage in, whatever it was going to engage in, bombing a country off the map, and it. I found as the day went on, I became more nervous and kept referring back to my phone, regardless of what I was doing, to seeing what would happen. And at the end, we sort of didn't go off the cliff, at least as of yet, and that was very, very reassuring. But it really left me very rattled. And I know that this morning in class. I didn't really talk about it to that group, but um, in the meditation, I sort of designed somewhat of the meditation to, I think, to help me um, deal with the varying emotions that were kind of arising in me, and the incredible sense of unsettledness that sort of drifted over me. And what I found was that um, being around the people in the group and talking to the people in the group and sort of just talking about and sort of, I wouldn't say design the meditation because it's a little more kind of organic for me than that, but sort of the framework of it that I had was really focusing on um, kind of recognition of sort of the whole person and sort of all of the things we hold in us, both what the Buddhists would talk about as hindrances, things like doubt and anger and desiring things to a sort of, I don't know if I would call it inappropriate, but in an unhealthy way, and those kinds of things, and sort of kind of balancing off against the notion of being open and being in a group with people and the energy that comes from the meditation itself, which focuses for me on that sense of being open and connected and, slowing everything down and recognizing that even within a world that sometimes feels, at least for me, out of control, that, reminded me that through these processes, at least for me, that the ability is there to sort of move away from sort of that reactive, anxious kind of interaction and back into one that, within the frame of what I can sort of control, the agency that I have, um, I can feel at least a sense of stability again. So, it reminds me that when we stop, when we slow down, when we look at how our mind is processing the world and kind of what it does to us or what it does to me, that there are alternatives. And so that by the end, I just felt so much gratitude for the ability to do this and for the communities that kind of have been created around doing it, and really how important that sense of community is, that we are not isolated, we are not alone. We may have things that are out of our control, but that within a frame of people that we have, that we are able to um, share things that are of value, that open us up and connect us and remind us that we are all connected, we're all human, we all have value, and that pursuing that kind of calm and that kind of acceptance, in a sense, what I might call radical acceptance. And I think actually Tara Brach uses that for the title of one of her books, really is of value. And what little I can do to sort of spread that is really a blessing for me. And so I just was reminded of that, and I just wanted to sort of share that before we kind of dive into our meditation. So with that, we can begin. I will turn my watch on. When I do it at the Y, of course, I'm kind of clocked. I have someone, there's a class right after my meditation, 15-minute break, so I have to make sure I finish. But here it's a little more free flowing because nobody's coming down to my office after this to use my computer but me. So, all right. All right, so let's settle ourselves and remind ourselves as we settle that there is much that we have gratitude for each other and for the fact that we are able to be here and that we choose to be here and that we choose to share these few moments with one another, and that by doing that, that we can in our own worlds, as we sort of leave this room, leave this place, we can also share and spread that. And so I feel gratitude for our ability and for the reality that much as we see a lot of toxins out there that spread, you know, dislike and vengeance and some sense of all these negative things, that can be counteracted by communities of good and communities of kindness. And so for a moment, I just want us to kind of think about kindness and think about acts of kindness and think about the kindnesses that we do to one another, the big ones when people really need it, and the small ones, things like saying thank you when somebody helps us, um, really being pleasant in situations where sometimes there is tension there, and that we have the ability to impact the world in a positive way. And if enough people impact the world in a positive way, then the world really can find some grounding and some peace, and that we can, in our own lives, find that also. And so I just want to share how grateful I am to have that in my life and to have the ability and the recognition and the belief and the faith and the spiritual connection to be able to do that. So if we think about things we are grateful for a moment, and we slowly breathe in and we breathe out, and we focus on being grateful, and we think about times people were kind to us and the kindness is offered, and how much those fed us. We often think about the seeds within us, and I often talk about, as we guide ourselves through our meditations, of the importance of nurturing those seeds, the seeds of openness and kindness and compassion, and the idea of understanding the right thing and slowing ourselves down to be able to see those things. And so we are grateful for that. And now we come back to our breath and we settle ourselves in. And we take a deep breath and we feel the air, the life-giving air that we breathe coming into our bodies and out. And as we think about that, we remember that the air that we breathe, we share with all of humanity, no matter where they live on the planet, whether they live here in the United States, in Wisconsin, South Carolina, whether they live in Europe, in the Middle East, in the Far East. We all share the air So we are all connected by the atmosphere and the breath and the breathing that we do. And with it, we live. And if it were taken from us or disappeared, regardless of who we were, position, money, power, vulnerability, poverty, we would all be gone. And so we reminded of our dependence or our interdependence on one another. And we extend that out to all living things, our pets, dogs, cats, birds, whatever other small animals you might have in your house that you keep as pets. And they too share in the air and the oxygen and the breath. And they too share in giving us kindness, a sense of caring. When the cat brushes against your legs as it walks by to remind you of its presence, or jumps up on the bed in the morning and looks at you and forms a connection. But again, we are all interrelated, all part of a living universe moving consistently forward in some way. When we pet our dogs, or they lay our heads on our lap, and they look at us with those piercing eyes, we feel that connection. Words are not required, not necessary, and perhaps sometimes even can get in the way. And we can sense the communication. We can sense the connection. And if we extend that out to wildlife, seeing a deer run by the trail that you're walking on or riding your bicycle on, or watching a squirrel scurry up a tree and hearing its claws against the tree and watching it as it moves and goes still and moves again and disappears from our view in the foliage. Or the bird that nests in that same tree, whether it be a robin or a blue jay, woodpecker or a sparrow, with its feathers and its coloring and its quick movements. We experience all of that. It is a gift to us. It is a gift that requires us to give it something. And that giving is just our awareness and our perception of it and our appreciation for being gifted the presence of this life. And as we see all of this in the foliage and the trees and the grasses and the insects, even the snakes, we remember we are all part of something bigger than us. And it is a gift. And it's a 1 in a zillion chance, perhaps, that we have this life. And so we stop, and as we consider all of this, we breathe in, and we breathe out, and we sense our place on the planet, our place on the universe. And even though it is for a brief moment, perhaps, we use that. We have a choice to use it. a choice to nourish it, to be a helper, to be a support person, to be helped, to be supported, to nurture something of value that will last beyond us, to recognize our existence matters. It is important. It is of value. And we breathe in and out. And I think about waking up in the morning and opening my eyes, the sun usually not quite up yet, but almost. And again, the day goes from dark to light, slowly, reminding us that we are ever moving, that the present moment is the past, sometimes before we recognize it as the present. So slowing my mind down to see it and to appreciate it for what it is. The gift of another day, the gift of 24 hours to use in some way. And we breathe in and we feel the beauty of that. Like getting a surprise gift from someone you love that you didn't expect. A small but valuable thing, whatever that is, a flower given to you by somebody as a reminder of your uniqueness. A set of symbols, a hug, the smile of a child. All these are gifts. And as we slow down and we think about all the gifts that we get over the course of a day, we recognize that every day is Christmas morning. Every day is our birthday. Every day is some important anniversary. And we sit back and we allow the sense and the feeling of those gifts to shower us. Given with no expectation of getting something in return, but giving equally back through our openness, through our acceptance of others, to seeing people and appreciating them for what they are and what they bring, just because they are there. And the recognition that all people have value, all living creatures have value, all living things have value, all inanimate things have value, and that we are equal to all of that and all of them, and they to us. And we slow ourselves down. And rather than rush through our day, we make sure that we are focused on the moment we are in, to appreciate all that we have. all that is given to us, and that it is all temporary, but that temporary nature, the fact that all things are impermanent, remind us just how important staying in that moment, in that place, are, to appreciate that moment, to savor it. Think of your favorite dessert or your favorite food, and having somebody lay it in front of you on a plate, whether it be a piece of key lime pie or a chocolate chip cookie or 2 eggs over easy, whatever it is, see it in front of you. Savor the odor. Feel how fortunate you are to have that in front of you. Be grateful for having that. And take your fork up slowly. Cut the pie, or pick up the cookie with your hand, or grab the toast and the egg, or whatever your food is. Lift it up to your mouth and savor the flavor, chewing slowly, eating mindfully. It's there, but for a brief moment in our lives. Feel it as it slides down your mouth and down your throat and deposits itself. Take a breath in. Feel the gift. And know you still have some left. And so we eat slowly. We eat mindfully. We taste it. We feel the texture of it. We sense the odor of it. We perceive the pleasure that we get from it. And we eat it slowly until it's gone and the plate is empty. And we sit and we breathe. And we nurture the gratitude. Somebody made that for us, or got it for us, or served it to us, or we had the skill and the ability to make it ourselves, to use our hands, and cooked it or baked it in a mindful manner, feeling sense of producing something of value, reminding ourselves of how much joy we can get out of a simple act of cracking 2 eggs over a frying pan, or mixing flour and fruit and making crust and putting it in the oven, and smelling the odors that arise from it and waiting for it to transform itself from a bunch of raw materials into cooked food. We breathe in slowly and we focus on our gratitude for it. We recognize it as a gift. And we think about how many people's hands, in a sense, touch these things. A farmer for chickens and eggs, grain for making flour, somebody to grind the flour, to package the flour, to transport it to the grocery store, to put it on the shelf, to we walked by aisle whatever, picked the bag of flour up, put it in our cart, wheeled it to the checkout, checked out at the grocery store, took it home. We are connected. And when we appreciate those connections, our differences, the things we see that we create to separate ourselves, we allow them to disappear and recognize that that separation is a created illusion, and we let it go. We let it float away, off. We come back to our chairs and our homes, and we sit for a moment and we breathe in slowly, in and out. And as we sit, we let whatever arise that we can see. We examine it. We let it float off and disappear. And we sit, focusing our energies. We breathe in. We recognize our breath. And we are aware of our breathing. And we breathe out. And we breathe in again, focusing and maintaining our attention. And we go slowly and slowly and slowly. Thank you and namaste. May the light in me shine in you.